Yeah, all right, so we should be going live any second now, and good. It says we're live. Let's double check.
Yep, we
Yep,
are
looks like we're
live.
All right, hello everyone. Ace here, and today we are doing a podcast of sorts. So, welcome to the very first Ace cast. And today we have with us not only me, but also Xerius and Asmagon.
Hola.
Which is a good thing.
Yep, I've been looking forward to
I would
having
hope so.
Asmagon on here.
It's like, now let's bring him on. He's a horrible, most terribly boring asshole we've ever met. Let's drag him onto our podcast, episode 1.
All right.
It is good to hear your voice once more.
I hope everyone is doing good today. Guten Trom says, good afternoon, sire. How are things? Sir, pretty good. Etch1 says, hoy. And Richard Valdez says, man, I would love a story or animation with boarding pod full of Night Lords versus a Rebel Alliance ship. All right.
That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it would.
So
Essentially, since Night Lords are
so basically a
terrorism.
Astartes. Basically the Astartes series, but with Chaos Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. It'd be about as decimating.
Yeah.
If not more.
It'd be pretty
All right,
one-sided.
So, who wants to go first for stuff they want to cover today?
I'm the guest, so I'm just gonna sit back and comment and be an asshole.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and start. First of all,
Yeah, why not?
something I've been wanting to cover. Leaks regarding Battlefield 6. Not really enough here, I think, to justify a full video on its own, in my opinion, but definitely worth having a chat about. And I do have some opinions on this. But, yeah, apparently Battlefield 6 is going to be cross-generation, which means it's going to be coming out for not just PC and not just the brand new PS5 and Xbox Series X, but also the Xbone and PS4. And they've also got 128 player map servers, apparently. Which, I'll be honest, the 128 players is a good decision in my opinion. I do think Battlefield as a franchise, 64 players was the gold standard all the way back in Battlefield 1942, way back in 2002. Unfortunately, there are games that have since exceeded it. The Arma series, for example, has 100-player servers, and I do think Battlefield needs the extra player count because it is all, of course, about that epic grand-scale battles. What do you guys think?
I would have to agree. That's always been the charm of Battlefield. It's always been the selling point over competitors like Call of Duty. In the massive scale battles, the very impressive and expansive terrain to fight on. That's always been what they've kicked Call of Duty's ass at. And Call of Duty's always specialized in smaller team battles and death matches with much smaller maps. So it's always been a battle between Battlefield's massive scale versus the miniature scale. If that makes me want to giggle saying that, miniature scale Call of Duty. So I would say that is definitely a selling point for Battlefield 6, assuming they're able to handle the server demand for 128 people and their internet connections.
I agree, and I also do think there might be. I mentioned this before starting the stream to Asmagon here, but I do think they might have a bit of an issue trying to do this on last gen stuff as well.
And just to repeat my point on that, since we're live now, it'll define whether that's a bad move with them having cross generation. Whether that'll be a bad move or a good move depends on which console or which generation they're having this developed in mind most. If they're mostly tunnel visioned about next gen and they just connect this to the previous gen, then there's going to be massive problems because the hardware won't be able to keep up with what they had in mind for the design. But if they're developing the game with previous gens being applicable as a console to play it on, then they're probably going to be lower graphics. They're probably going to be less demanding games on the new platform. So it'll be very dependent on what they're developing this game in terms of hardware in mind.
I
So
do agree with that.
that for me, it could be bad, could be good. It depends on how they're developing it.
Speaking-
Knowing how developers are working these days, I would say Ace is probably right. This probably is a bad sign because most of the time they have this. A lot of developers have this tunnel vision where they mostly focus on developing games for the next gen, and then decisions like it being cross gen is not even a developer choice; it's a choice by the publishers. And then the developers who were developing the game or are developing the game with the next gen in mind now go, fuck. Now we got to find a way to make this somehow manageable on both generations.
Mm. Speaking of which, let's actually first have a look at some of the comments. Gutentrum says, people forget to understand that different devices handle different on how they data to the NIC, and that affects multiplayer experience. All right. And the captain says, oh, what's this? Am I late? Well, you're not too late. We've only started about 5 minutes ago. We are doing a podcast of sorts. I'm Ace here with Xerius and Asmogon. But yeah, we're talking about right now Battlefield 6 and the leaks that have gone around it. Now, another one of the leaks, by the way, is that it's going to be including a Battle Royale mode.
Of course.
If, in my opinion, I think that's a bad idea. And I'll explain.
My personal opinion on it is I don't think it's a bad move. I never think of a multiple game modes as bad. As long as they're not taking too much focus away from the main game experience that Battlefield is known for. If they're not putting too many people focusing on the Battle Royale mode, then it's just another game mode. Like, I don't see it as a negative. But if they're putting too much focus into the Battle Royale mode, and they're not putting as much effort as they should away from that onto the main game with the developers, again, it's a matter of how they're allocating their staff.
All right.
Well, but I don't see it as a bad thing, just its inclusion.
Well, here's my line of reasoning on it. And, well, here's the thing. I would use the previous Battlefield games as examples, and more specifically how they, for example, would handle their campaign modes in comparison to the multiplayer. If you look at Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, for example, the campaign modes are basically completely different games from the multiplayer. So much so that it means that you have to have a lot of development time on just the campaign mode that's not going to translate over to the multiplayer. And in the case of Battlefield 4, for example, if you actually boot the game up, the multiplayer in Battlefield 4 today runs perfectly fine. The campaign is still an ungodly broken mess, pretty much where it was back in 2013. It might spread their development out that way, is my concern. And adding a third mode in the form of Battle Royale might cause even further problems. Look at Battlefield 5, for example. Part of the problem, they did actually include a Battle Royale mode that no one really played.
I would have to say, yeah. Wait, Battlefield 5 had a Battle Royale mode? I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they added it later as part of their scheme to try to keep the game alive, and the mode pretty much died on a delivery, so...
Yeah, from a franchise selling point, I mean, Battlefield 5 has not been known for Battle Royale, and it's not a series that people associate with that. It's a series that people associate with, again, these massive scale, massive team size, massive maps of two teams fighting it out in death matches and other game modes. It's always been about that aspect in the multiplayer, and then with the single player, there's usually interesting or somewhat compelling stories. Well, with the exception of, in my opinion, the last couple games, but that's where I stand.
Personally, I'd say, campaigns. Well, my 2 cents on the campaigns. Battlefield 2 Modern Combat had the best campaign of the entire franchise. Because it managed to still capture the feeling of the multiplayer, but in a campaign. And I think that's what they needed to do. They actually had some pretty cool features in that, such as the hot swap feature, where you could instantly teleport to various soldiers on the battlefield. That was a pretty good idea. I wish they'd bring that back, but we're getting off tangent here, I guess. I will say this: there is one thing potentially promising is that it apparently is going to be a soft reboot of Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 3 is a beloved game, as Gutentrom here in the comments is bringing up. The captain is also bringing up Battlefield 1, which is a good game in its own right.
I thought Battlefield 1 was pretty good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the campaign.
Yeah, the campaign in Battlefield 1 is one of the better ones. I will say that. Not quite Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, but still definitely better than the campaigns for Battlefield 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
The captain says they should have added the Soviets or the French. Then it wouldn't be dead. Well, part of the problem, from what I understand, is just the state of Battlefield 5. They never actually were able to get it running quite the way they needed to. That, on top of all the other problems right from the get-go before the game even came out, was a problem as well. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on the game being set, Battlefield 6 being set in the modern era?
Battlefield 6 being set in the modern era. Well, I could see them doing something interesting with that. And obviously, the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to modern era warfare style games, it's Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
So that went over pretty well. Modern Warfare was probably one of the better Call of Duty games that's come out recently, and it's certainly in recent memory. So I can see that with that setting, there's a certain balance between boots on the ground gameplay that people really like. That not that super sci-fi jumping all over the place at first person view that Advanced Warfare and fuck the other one I don't even remember now. The one that took place more in space for Call of Duty. People miss the boots on the ground gameplay, but they also like some of that high tech stuff. They just don't want it to overrule the general experience of running and gunning.
Mm-hmm.
So a modern style Battlefield or Call of Duty, or and obviously we're speaking mostly from Battlefield. I think that would work because again, it's a perfect balance between some high tech battle stratagems you can employ during a battle, but also there's still majority of it's still going to be running and gunning on the ground. No jetpacks, no fancy tech like that. No wall jumping over buildings and shit. In my opinion, it's got a more general balance if it's set in modern warfare.
Mm.
So I could see that working very much into their favor of just the general gameplay loop.
All right. Captain says Afghanistan maybe as a potential setting. That would actually, that would work for a few maps. Sure, I would want them to cover a few more locations, of course, but
yeah, because we've had a lot of military shooters that have taken place in the Middle East in the last couple of years. So I don't know if everybody else agrees with me, but I would like the settings to change up a little bit.
I agree. What are your thoughts, Xerius?
In all honesty, I could not care less about Battlefield.
Yeah, good thing you had
That's
me on
just
here,
me
right?
personally.
Otherwise, you'd have no one to bounce this off of.
Yeah. I will say this, although it was a bit of a long shot, what I was actually kind of hoping for a slightly different setting. See, I do think with the next Battlefield game, because the way Battlefield 5 was, as bad as Battlefield 5 was, they do need to take some risks, I think.
I'd have to agree.
Make a really good game, to really bring back the franchise. And I was kind of hoping they would do that similar to what they did with Battlefield 1, take it to an entirely new setting. So the one I was kind of hoping for would have been Korea in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's an obscure war, but there's a lot more to it. I mean, on the one hand,
I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing to Kitten's comment in the live chat.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, anyways, so as I was saying, Korea would, in my opinion, be an interesting setting because on the one hand, you'd have a lot of weapons that are holdovers from World War II, but on the other hand, you have the beginnings of more modern weaponry, so you might potentially have early AK-47s in, you'd have the M2 carbine in, things like that. I think you might have even potentially been able to get away with an FNFAL. So you'd have a fair amount of variety in the weapons. The maps, curiously, would have some variety because you'd have mountainous maps throughout most of the country of Korea. You'd also have winter-style maps. And in the southern most extreme during the Busan perimeter, you even have a few that could be jungle maps as well. So some interesting map variety to go along with it. Plus helicopters that are, but not the gunship type. So
I'd be interested to see Korea as a setting.
I would personally be interested in seeing a South African setting. That is something you don't see nowadays. You never see games set in South Africa. You know, it's always America or Russia, Germany or China or something.
You know,
but you never get
in Japan a couple times, but yeah.
I do actually have a game that does that though.
In South Africa?
Yeah, well, kinda. It's a game called.
Where's my South African representation?
It's called Steel Armor Blaze of War. It's a tank sim, pretty good one for what it's worth, but it covers the Angolan Civil War. And I believe the South Africans were involved, right? Pretty sure they have the one of the tanks that the South Africans made in it. So
I can't say. My knowledge of that stuff is too thorough. Oh, is there any wars you can think of in South Africa, Xerius?
Well, you mean aside from the Bush Wars?
Yeah.
You mean aside from the constant civil wars we have over here? Actually, what would be interesting is a video game recreation of something like the Boer Wars.
The Boer Wars?
That would be the Boer Wars, you know?
Yeah.
The Boer means the British colonists, the native tribes, and all that kind of thing.
That would be interesting.
Okay,
yes.
Well, on one hand, it'll probably get a lot of flack because the definition of racism nowadays is a bit skewed. But on the other hand, it would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because
actually, kind of think of it. Maybe that's why a lot of because immediately when I was thinking South Africa. Do you guys remember the backlash? I can't remember which Resident Evil it was.
5.
But there was a 5. Okay, that one was set in Africa, and there was a lot of black zombies, and you'd shoot zombies and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how much backlash that game got for quote unquote racism?
Oh yes.
So maybe so that kind of popped in my head. Maybe that's why we don't see almost any games set in a majorly black country. Is because that twist would be put on it immediately by games journos. Oh, no one can anyone here refute me to say that Kotaku wouldn't immediately jump on that just from like the first trailer of a war game being set in Africa, south or north?
Yeah, you got a point there.
Oh, look, Ace,
yep,
you got a super chat, boy.
All right, so Etch1 says Battlefield Emu Wars. Yes. Yes.
The fucking giraffe chickens.
Okay. Screw the South Africa edition. Do that. Absolutely do that.
We'll just call it Battlefield Australia.
Yes. I can see that.
Oh. Okay. Here's another video game idea for South Africa. So, You know how, like, I don't know if it's Call of Duty or Battlefield, but whatever those games, they kind of almost delve into the political kind of criminal kind of thing. I don't know which game it is, but that's the general feel I get from some of them.
Well, I know Battlefield...
Something like that in a semi-modern South African setting would be interesting. I wouldn't say it would be in any way entertaining, as South African military is pathetic, to say the least.
Well, they do have a lot of their own unique kit, so there is that.
Oh, here's an idea. South African Ranger sit in the Kruger Park, protecting against poachers and generally taking care of some wounded or endangered animals. That might be interesting for some people. You know,
Yeah.
the sniper elite people.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can
there you
see
go.
it.
There you go.
I mean, to be
Sniper
fair,
elite
though,
game set in South Africa.
to be fair though, a lot of the poachers, a lot of them would have their guns blowing up in their face because a lot of them are handcrafted. But yeah,
No,
not all of them, no, obviously, but some of them, yeah. All right.
I know. Well, and being a poacher, maybe you'll have like a dog unit and sniffing out like drugs and narcotics and stuff.
Call of Duty Ghosts comes.
That would
epic new dog models.
that would be interesting. I'm actually personally interested in that myself because when I was off with the knife making course, there was a poacher, no, but a ranger there, you know, anti-poacher group, and he personally is within a drug training. You know, you're training the dogs to sniff out drugs and stuff. And the stories he told, I was very interested in that. I would also be very interested to see if that got. Well, I would be interested to see a game set in that kind of setting, but considering our modern social climate, it's somewhat unlikely.
Yeah,
Right, so I got
that's
some more comments here. Robert Chark says,
You got a lot more comments.
"What about another Battlefield Bad Company game, or did it get played out?" I think another Bad Company game would actually be fun. Gabriel Aelio says an alternate universe setting like Hoi 4 Kaiserreich would be fun. That's actually a good point. Yeah, another one. Are you guys familiar with the? Are you guys familiar with? I believe it. The guy's name is Turtle. Are you guys familiar with the Turtle books?
the what?
Nope.
Alternate hit. Okay, so it's a series of alternate history books. It covers World War I and World War II, but here's the twist. It's basically what if the South won the American Civil War? So you have the U.S. still split up in two, and it covers the World Wars fighting and the fighting in both North America and in Europe during both of the World Wars, with the Union siding with Germany and the Confederates siding with the British and French. It's a weird series, but yeah.
I would be interested to see that in the video game.
That would,
and we don't get that is the one thing like that I would say would definitely spice up both Call of Duty and Battlefield is more alternative history style games. In other than like just going into the far future and Call of Duty did with Advanced Warfare and the other one again it's still escaping my mind. I can't really think of like too many like attempts by Call of Duty or Battlefield to create like a true alternate history game. Like yeah, they create and invent their own events that happen in their universes, but they more or less stick with the same. I guess you could say the same realistic or semi-realistic setting. They don't really change like entire swaths of history. They just add events that never happened. Am I making sense, or am I not wording this right?
I think you're making sense.
All right.
All right. Well, I believe Xerius, you wanted to talk about something about Doom Eternal.
Ah, yes.
Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods, Part 2.
All right,
DLC?
you got a link for us?
Well, it hasn't. Well, we know it has been announced, but we haven't got a trailer or anything just yet.
Is there any article?
However, the interesting Google part, Ancient Gods Part 2, or whatever. I don't really care right now. I'm more interested in the interesting thing that Hugo Martin said on one of the streams. That I think it was the developer game playthrough thingy, but basically he confirmed that there will be a new weapon, and this is well, a pretty big deal because you're adding a new weapon to Doom Eternal,
Mm-hmm.
and he said it's going to be something completely new, completely different, and
Hmm.
the gears in everyone's brains are turning.
I'm gonna put my
one of the
skeptical hat on for that one.
Let's see, what could it be? Do they have that laser weapon from Doom 64 in?
Do you mean the Unmaker?
Yeah, the Unmaker.
Yeah, they have it.
Okay,
It's
so it
one
can't
of
be the
the.
Unmaker. You're right, they do have it. Silly me. So it has to be something different.
The number
You got
number
a super
one
chat, Ace, by the way.
theory right
Yep.
now. Oh,
All right, so bottled titty milk says for $10. Heyo there, what are you doing, Master Splinter? Okay.
hold on, I can do it.
Yeah, what are you doing, Master Splinter?
Okay, that's a good joke.
Mein goodness. Anyway, back to the theoretical thingies. So the number one theory right now is that it's going to be the Soul Cube from Doom 3. However, I don't think so. The Soul Cube is in the game as an Easter egg in the devil in the Doomslayer's little office man cave thing. He's got the Soul Cube on his desk somewhere, I think. But personally, why I think it won't be the Soul Cube is, well, it's an unnecessary weapon. Personally, I haven't used it in Doom 3. I haven't fully played through Doom 3 because, wow, that game is boring. But from what I'm seeing, the Soul Cube basically works. You kill 5 demons, then you get a Soul Cube charge, and then you can use it and it insta-kills some enemy, and then it gives you health. I don't think... The reason I don't think that it's going to be in the game, and why it's not necessary, is because you already gain health through glory kills, chainsaw, blood punch, pickups. So I don't think it's gonna be. And in terms of one-hitting things, you got the chainsword. Oh, chainsword. Oh goodness, I have been too much into Warhammer.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another super chat here.
Yes.
Ibram Gaunt says for $5, no more old history from the left. There is a reason Battlefield 5 failed. Yes, although the sad thing is...
Well, the thing is... Wait, we might have the same thought. Go ahead.
The sad part is Battlefield 5 wasn't supposed to be alternate history.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, we had the same exact point.
Yeah, not only that, but you had Don Lemon when they did the live stream reveal for the game. You had Don Lemon go on there with the developers, trying to prop up the game not only as the most immersive World War II game of all time, but again you then had Don Lemon present the story of how his kid brother or something was playing Battlefield 1, and he tells his kid brother, if your mom catches you, just tell her that you're learning history, that this is a history lesson. And this was done to market Battlefield 5. So they're arguing that it is so historically accurate that it's practically a history lesson.
Yes, with women on the British front wearing prosthetics.
I mean, yeah, the women there, you had the bionic the Fernando. You had Kratos Kratos from God of War there. And 2 other dudes.
Wait, what?
Oh, didn't you know that Kratos from God of War was one of the other characters that was in Battlefield 5 in the reveal?
Wait, what?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, none of the 4 characters. All right, let's see if I can actually find... Well, no, let's actually look it up.
Yeah, you have me somewhat confused and intrigued. I'm sorry, what?
Let's see if I can find
Okay,
it.
well, you look. Bottled, did milk, soul cube, and chainsaw. Chainsaw is not useless. It is an essential part of the game, considering you need to get ammo, and the only way you can get ammo is through the chainsaw after you've picked up all the pickups. So, chainsaw is not useless.
All right, you guys,
It
here you
is-
go. Behold, Kratos from God of War made it into the game. He's standing right beside the bionic Femendo.
Okay, I took that a little more literally than I should have.
Yeah, same.
Although,
Yeah, but I see what
honestly,
you mean.
that's probably an insult to Kratos there, because that looks more like Kratos if he was a soy boy.
No, that looks more like the kid Kratos beat up. Less. That looks more like the kid Kratos beat up in the recent God of War game.
Anyway, so yeah, but
Moving on from this little tangent.
yep. So you were talking about the new Doom weapon. Any theories that it might be the pistol?
No, because the pistol is basically useless. The pistol is in the game in the files. However, it isn't infinite ammo and it doesn't have any significant secondary fire. So it is useless. Absolutely useless. Unless you're absolutely crazy and you want to actually try a pistol only run in Doom Eternal.
A good comment here from Gabriel regarding Battlefield 5. Gabriel says, in reference to Kratos, the god of soy instead of the god of war.
As intimidating as your drunk next door neighbor.
Honestly, I think my drunk next door neighbor would be more intimidating. At least
Not
he'd
mine.
have his beer. At least he'd have his beer muscles flexing.
Anyway.
Yeah.
The second theoretical weapon is another weapon from Doom 3, and that is some kind of it's basically the gravity gun from Half-Life. Actually, it literally is just the gravity gun from Half-Life, but reskinned. Personally, I don't think it's gonna be in the game. I can't even come up for a good reason. I just don't think it's gonna be the weapon. It doesn't really make sense whatsoever. But yeah, right at the moment, that is kind of the 2 main things. I haven't heard much else from people. There was another thing.
Well, if you want, there's something
It's
else
on
I
it's on the
can.
tip of my tongue.
Well, if you
It
want,
is on the tip of my tongue. What was it?
It's always when you need to remember it, it doesn't come to mind.
Yes. Okay, well, on to my personal speculations. Personally, I think Wolf, that's the other one. That's the other theory.
ooh, yeah.
Because, well,
Wolf.
Yeah, you know how the Marauder has his wolf thing when you shoot his shield?
Uh-huh. You think you're gonna get that?
The third theory I've heard is the wolf. The Slayer is gonna get his own wolf.
That
However, whilst it does sound really cool and really badass, and yeah, I personally like the idea, when you start actually thinking about it, it kind of crumbles because now you have to kind of deal with a friendly AI trying to assist the Slayer. It's if it's gonna be the wolf, it's gonna be extremely complicated to try and program, and who knows how it's gonna work. But
Well-
personally, I do think it is a pretty cool idea.
well, given that it's
You know,
given that the wolf is a spectral being, you might be able to get away with some things that you wouldn't with a creature that, as far as lore is concerned, is supposed to be still living and all that. But I think
It also
that
could
is
be a timed
Yeah.
timed quote unquote weapon.
Kind
And
of like-
you can summon it and direct it at a specific target, and then the AI will attack that target until the target is dead or until its
that's
life
also
runs out.
something- that's
Which would
also
be a
something I
lot
was
simpler to program. If it's
Yeah.
a summonable creature that has a directional attack in terms of like it can select what enemy it attacks, and you don't necessarily the player don't direct it at something, that would be more complicated to program because then the AI has to select a target of its own to focus on.
Mhm.
That would be more complicated. But in terms of the service of a spectral dog just attacking, I could see them very easily just having it as like a directional quote unquote weapon as specific target. Like this will
Yeah.
guarantee that thing dies over there, essentially.
Actually, I would be looking forward to
Yeah,
it if they
very
put the
much.
wolf in.
I'd be curious to see what if that's their plan, how they intend to pull it off.
Because that's the thing
Yeah.
for me. It seemed like the weapon.
Unfortunately, we have no real definitive things other than we know that another weapon is coming. So it's pure speculation right now, unfortunately.
Well,
Yeah.
as from what I see, I'd say that the weapon selection, at least as far as guns are concerned, is pretty solid in Doom Eternal as is. So it
Yep.
being a new ability or something along those lines makes a little bit more sense to me.
It is one of the videos I watched. Actually, the guy did mention maybe it's not like a main weapon. It's not strictly a main weapon, but maybe it's an equipment attachment or a unique different ability or something. And personally, I do like that idea because I mean, Doom Eternal already has a lot of weapons to deal with. So an equipment or ability thing would make the most sense, in my honest opinion.
All right.
However, that also brings up the what might the ability and slash or attachment be? It's
Could
It's
be
all
a-
just
honestly, I don't know.
I mean, would it
Personally, I was thinking maybe like, you know how in Dawn of War you could call down an orbital strike? Maybe the Slayer will get like a... Okay, no, wait, never mind. No, never mind. Dumb idea. Makes no sense if you actually think about it.
All right.
Okay, never mind. Nope. Dumb.
Well, I think we've thoroughly explored that topic.
All
Right.
right. So I guess, well, let's move on to something else. Specifically Star Wars. So you guys, so you guys have heard that EA no longer has exclusivity rights for Star Wars.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes, there was much rejoicing. But
They just Disney was like, "Eh, we're done with them."
Yeah,
What's
but
it's like?
Be gone. What?
but the reason I bring this up is it turns out that there, according to leaks, or rumors at least, there's going to be a new Knights of the Old Republic game in development. Not by BioWare, however. It's going to be by someone else. No idea who. But
Oh.
I'll admit, I have very mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, Knights of the Old
Indeed.
Republic is a good series, and if they get a competent developer to make the game, then yeah, it could be genuinely interesting. And also, even
Could
though,
be being the operative word.
and also, I know BioWare
Yeah.
used to be good, and they did actually create Knights of the Old Republic, but given how recent things have gone, I can see why they wouldn't be developing this latest entry.
And yeah, and does anyone here honestly think that the modern BioWare are up to it? I mean, how many of their veteran guys who worked on KOTOR even left?
No idea, but what has me concerned is I do have to
Well,
with the way Star Wars is, it is right now rather hit or miss. You either have something that is
Yeah,
genuinely
that's
good.
that's also my concern. It's with the whole High Republic comic thing.
High
it's already
Republic.
going downhill hardcore, if you're curious.
Yeah, I've read the first issue of
not.
it, and I know
I-
Xerius here. I don't think I can talk Xerius into reading it. I've tried. But yeah, there's the High Republic.
Maybe, possibly one day, sometime, maybe I'll consider reading it.
I'll read it with you, Ace.
Nice. Anyways,
um,
but
I
yeah,
won't let you go through that alone.
the good news is, I will say, is that there is potential hope because while there is that side of Star Wars, there's also the Mandalorian side of Star Wars as well. And there have actually
Indeed.
been some decent games recently. Squadrons seems to be relatively decent, as well as what was the other one, the Fallen Order. That one seems to be decent as well. Gabriel Alio says, I expected that Ubisoft Star Wars game to fill that role. From what I understand, the Ubisoft game is going to be a bounty hunter game. So that could be interesting.
Ooh,
Even
That
though
could
it's
be interesting.
Ubisoft.
I'm curious to see how they pull that one off.
But yeah, from what I understand, it's not going to be a developer that not that many people know. But unfortunately, the problem is the source is Jason Schreier, and
No.
yeah, and I'm not exactly a huge fan of Jason Schreier.
Neither am I.
who's he again?
He's a games journal who worked at Kotaku. I think he still works for Kotaku. Didn't they go down? I don't
No, he
know, I don't
went to
remember.
Bloomberg.
Yeah. He's. The thing is, when it comes to games journals, he's actually not that bad. He actually does have some legitimately good takes sometimes, or good news. The problem is how he handles the community
Yeah, he's the problem. Yeah,
remotely well. He runs his mouth on social fucking machine gun of bad takes and bad comments. And he's a total hypocrite sometimes.
yeah. One of the things I've been really critical of him about is, well, you heard. Okay, so how familiar are you two with Sophia Narwitz?
I'm familiar as much as I want to be with her.
Well, in my opinion, she actually does some genuinely good and honest journalism. When she exposed, for example,
X to doubt.
No, really, she does do good work.
I don't think she does bad. I mean, I could definitely think of way worse people.
But anyways, she tends to be a neutral in the whole culture war thing too. But anyways, so when she actually covered the fact that the ESA during, I think it was last year or the year before his E3, had doxed everyone that showed up there. Jason Schreier basically incorrectly, blatantly lied blamed her for the docs becoming publicly available. No, it would have been publicly available for months. She was just the one She was just the one that actually found out about it and reported it, and she actually contacted the ESA first, and they tried to take it down, but the ESA were so incompetent in their handling that they screwed that up. So,
Doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
Of course they did.
So in other words, Jason Schreier ultimately blamed Sophia Norwitz for the ESA being so blatantly incompetent that they failed to actually take down the document. Apparently she was supposed to expect the ESA to be terrible, but yeah. We're getting off another tangent there. Kizril says her taste in games is crap, but she does reporting okay. Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, so I do know that EA apparently, it does say in this article that they are working on another Star Wars game, but it will not be Battlefront 3.
Because Battlefront 2 went over so well initially.
It was a sense of pride and accomplishment. But yeah,
it was very good for everybody. Everybody liked it.
Didn't it take them like 2 years to finally fix that mess?
Yeah.
Wasn't it 3?
It took them a while. I know that. I didn't start playing it until I got like harassed by one of my viewers. I didn't start playing it again until like they were like, "Oh no, dude, it's really good now. It's not as bad as you're saying." I was like, "I'm speaking from when it came out." It's like, "Oh, it's not as bad anymore." I was like, "Okay, fine." Finally played it like maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, "It's okay now."
Gabriel,
certainly not as bad as it was.
Sounds like what happened with No Man's Sky.
Well,
Not quite. No Man's Sky did an actual 180 from the shit they started.
Yeah.
They actually made the game really good. I'd say the Battlefield 2 fix was more of a... They went like 35 to 40 degrees. They went from being a complete representation on like how bad the industry is to now it's a decent game.
You know what?
Okay,
No,
so I
wait,
do have a
never mind.
comment here. Gabriel Alio says, could be Bluepoint as a developer. That would be nice. Interesting idea. Jacob Jones says, very telling that Lucasfilm is not reining in an overt racist who is in charge of the High Republic right now.
Oh yeah, that chick.
Yeah. Disney really needs to bring down the hammer on the misbehaving elements of the Lucasfilm.
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And
Except they weren't.
it's kind of disgusting how they were like, "Oh yeah, we totally." In the very same comment that they defended her on Twitter, they were like, "We do not support bullying and racism, but we support this bullying racist."
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Excuse me? Like you counteracted yourself the following sentence. What?
Yep.
I swear, Disney.
Yeah, well,
Disney Lucasfilm were
bullying
fucking
and
butchering this.
racism seems to be what one half Lucasfilms is all about nowadays.
Yeah.
Specifically the Kennedy side. I wish that woman would just go away now.
OCM
I wish she would quit her
says-
job with some dignity.
OCM says,
Except she won't.
We
Nope,
could also...
that's what Eagle will do to you.
Alright, so OCM says, we could also go back to the expanded universe and forget this mess ever existed. Yes. Nuclear
Definitely.
is Orc says, what's this? We are doing a podcast discussing some stuff. We already discussed Battlefield 6, sorry. Some news regarding...
That included some talking about Battlefield 5.
Yeah, we did talk about Battlefield 5 a little bit. And we are now talking about the new Knights of the Old Republic game that is...
Not being developed by EA or BioWare.
Yeah, but is being developed, apparently.
By
so
someone.
Ultimately...
Hey, remember...
but yeah, ultimately, like I said, I have mixed feelings about this. This could either be great or this could be terrible. What do you guys think?
It
You know
it
what
highly
would be
depends
cool?
on who's
If-
developing
if-
it. Highly depends on that.
You know what'd be cool? If this was being made by Relic Entertainment. I think they could handle it well. Personally.
Are relics still around?
Think
I
they
believe
are,
so.
maybe.
Relic Entertainment. I thought they closed.
Well, I'll have to check. Let me check here.
Wasn't
No,
that
okay.
THQ?
I think I'm thinking of somebody else because it looks like they're still good.
That would be
Yeah,
interesting.
I think I'm thinking of somebody else. Trying to think who I'm thinking of. Yeah, it'll come to me.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I personally think Relic might be a good choice for
I don't
development.
agree for good development for Knights of the Old Republic. I don't see Relic being able to do a KOTOR well. Personally.
A KOTOR?
Knights of the Old Republic. KOTOR. That's like the...
Okay.
You don't know that?
Sorry, Asmagon. I guess we're both boomers now.
Like, apparently.
Oh, well.
That's what the community's been calling those games for decades now.
That's what they were calling him on release. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Summarize the name.
But yeah, alright. Well, to move on, I believe Xerius wanted to talk a little bit about Games Workshop's live stream or something.
No, the recent Warhammer online preview. The Dead and the Divine. Kill me now.
Is this about the armor that the Sisters of Battle got?
Oh, this is about the whole thing. The good, bad, and the very ugly.
Alright, which thing is this? Because I'm not sure what you're referencing specifically.
I'll
right now.
put a link. I'll put a link. Here
Awesome.
comes the link.
Here comes the
There's
pain.
the link. Right, I'll let everyone get
Yeah, I
onto
haven't seen
the.
this live stream. I did see the armor of the new armor.
You
of
don't
Fate
have
stuff.
to see the live stream.
I've seen both the Kill Team thing they're releasing and the new armor they released for the Sisters of Battle. I did see that. Is that mostly what you're talking about, or is there something outside the preview of those two things that I missed?
No, this is about the whole preview. There were a whole bunch of things that were previewed. I want to cover the entire preview,
Okay.
All right.
including the bad, good, and ugly things.
All right.
So, first and most obvious thing that is new is this retarded as all hell Sisters of Battle Dread Knight. And don't tell me it's not a Dread Knight because it looks exactly like a Dread Knight.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the design myself.
Ah.
I'm curious to see the different paint jobs for it, but in terms of ugliness, I'd say I think I've seen uglier models. So, I guess I'd say it's not my cup of tea. I don't like this model, really. If I were to build a Sisters of Battle army, I wouldn't add that to it, just from an aesthetic standpoint. It would depend on its advantages in the game. Like, what's its data sheet look like? If I could supplement it with something else, I would.
Yeah. And another comment on Sisters of Battle faces. Wow. That is ugly.
Hold on, let me zoom in.
That is a... Wow.
Where the fuck are her eyebrows? Good thing they
That's
have a
a
helmeted
general
version of that. I
comment.
would just put the helmet on.
That is actually a common theme when it comes to eyebrows in 40k. No one has eyebrows.
Yeah, but you'd think they'd at least try, like, at least paint something on. That's just ugly as hell right there.
Well, I mean, I'm referring. Well, they kind of have eyebrows. You know, they have eyebrow ridges and stuff, but
But they didn't even try and like paint on like a little sliver of white or something like that to represent it. It's just
They never do. They never do for whatever reason. I guess eyebrows is hard to paint or something.
Well, it's just a quick like swish of the brush. If it looked a little off, it would actually still fit.
Oh my good Jesus! Is that?
What?
There's also the line under her eyes. Like, is that a mold line or is that painted on?
Bags.
Yeah, the bag's under her eyes. What the fuck?
I just found a mold line on this model.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Your personal kryptonite.
Where?
Oh, go suck a baguette. Okay, so on the right side of the image,
For people on the
On the
stream who
mod-
need context, Xerius' biggest pet
y-
peeve on models is and has always been mold lines.
and it will always be. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so the arm, her arm holding the control with the red cable.
Mhm.
If you look at that silver joint back there, you will see a mold line. Look at that pretty little mold line
Insert
right in your
insert
face.
gif of the drama.
Oh no.
The humanity.
Oh
It's a
god.
Oh god.
Yeah, but the thing is-
they should. I will say this: it's one thing if I were to leave mold lines on my minis, but they are trying to show this off in the most professional way. So I guess I'd agree that they
Exactly.
shouldn't leave obvious mold lines, since they're supposed to
Exactly.
be. They're supposed to be the
That's-
premium standard, and they didn't do that. I'll agree that's.
Oh,
what
yes,
I
and
would have a
red.
problem with that, but
Yeah,
mold
and,
lines in
a
general,
little
I don't really. See
a little
big deal.
later on, I'm actually gonna show you one of the character models actually has some 3D printer striations on it.
Oh dear.
Oh, you're all gonna love that. But yeah, in general, this thing looks ugly.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
of course have this. Okay, one of the things. Where and how do her legs move?
I'm not sure. They seem. She either has the longest legs of all the Sisters of Battle. If so, insert meme or gif there about all legs. All thighs, no butt. Yeah, but her
in
legs
terms
are
of-
super long.
Controlling the legs, you can see that her legs are inside of these mechanical extensions.
Yeah, and
Her
based on how
feet
her
will have to-
arms are, her legs should stop where the knees on the model are. That's
Yeah.
where her feet should
and
be.
then somehow that's gonna walk coherently.
Yeah, I'm very
and won't stumble over.
confused. The only like just thinking from like a sci-fi explanation, maybe they're cybernetic legs. Maybe she had her normal legs removed, and those are her. New
Well,
ones,
then
but-
we have Pentanet engines for that.
yeah, that's what I'm still very confused though. Why they would be like that? Like the whole design of this is very strange.
Agreed.
And of course, yeah. Oh yeah, and of course, you don't just get the sword and you don't just get the two main weapons. You also get rockets and flamers in the shoulders. Because that's definitely not gonna give her a hearing impediment.
Yeah,
What's a little
I-
tinnitus anyway?
I'm trying to think what the mindset was behind the design. Like, it looks like it's a cross between a Terminator and what the hell would that be a cross with? Something
Based
from
on the shoulder
Mechanicus.
pads and Imperial Knight.
It's very odd the mindset they had for this. Like I'm not understanding the choices here very much at all. Like her normal arms are completely exposed, and so are the cables that connect her normal arms to the mechanical arms on the suit,
And this
bot,
one
whatever it is.
specifically doesn't have a helmet.
Yeah. So there's a lot
Which
of
is dumb.
really piss poor design here. Like, if you can have
Androids
wait, so
complaining,
her
yeah.
normal legs are inside those. I'm assuming those bionicle legs, or those are augments. So if that's the case, why didn't they do the same for the arms of the bot? Like, why is her arms and the cables that connect the mechanical arms completely exposed to fire and melee attacks? Like, just do the same thing you did with her legs. Extend her legs inside the artificial ones, is in like an actual suit. The only reason they didn't do that, I guess, is because they didn't want this to be too much like Terminator armor. Like, again, I'm trying to understand the logic, but there isn't really any logic between having exposed arm joints. And again, this is very piss poor design.
I just noticed that there's just some random small pouch just there for no reason. What is it? Why is it there? What does it hold? What is its purpose? Why is it so small? Is there a reason it's so small?
Not a clue.
What is that?
It's a power loader ripoff.
and-
Just think her saying, "Get away from her, you bitch." Oh no, you're right.
Oh!
No, that's what they were. No, I hate you for that one.
Oh God!
You're right.
I
That's why I
also
hate
do.
you. No, that's
I
what
hate
they.
you now as well.
I hate you so much.
Game
What?
over,
Damn
man.
it.
Game over.
That's exactly what they were.
Man, game over. Oh, I hate what's your name?
Thank
So
you.
it doesn't work
Yeah,
here.
You are absolutely correct.
I
Admiral
Bram Gaunt.
And thank you, by the way, for the
You are
$5 super
going in
chat,
my
but-
grudge book. You are going in my book of grudges.
Oh my
and you shall
God.
stay there for eternity.
And I'm impressed he saw that. I was struggling to figure out what the hell this is based on. But no, that is totally it. That is totally fucking it. Oh my God.
Just paint it yellow and there you go.
The only thing I could think of was some of the units from Command and Conquer 4. You know, that god-awful cyborg with treads and the arm with that can control the throttle for some weird, ungodly reason.
Yeah, I think so.
That was the closest I could think of to this.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
the chat is laughing at that as well.
What have you wrought on this world, GW?
The thing, what's ironic is I actually just got my, which I ordered by the way in August, but I just got my mini, my Sergeant Ripper Jackson mini. I just got that recently, and you know I nicknamed the one I'm about to assemble, Ripley Junior. Girls can be juniors, right?
Oh, jeez.
But oh, that's funny.
That's
That is funny.
offensive. How dare you?
How dare you use junior? What if she
Oh,
identifies
yeah,
as
also
a senior?
Feminists, you got your wish. There is no boob armor. Sad sister of battle noises.
Yeah.
yeah.
Feminists
I don't
like-
mind that in a mech suit, but again, the rest of the design makes no sense.
Well, the thing is, if you look at how the armor is compared to regular armor, this isn't that chest piece isn't that much bigger than regular sister battle armor. It's a bit bigger, yes, but it's not that much bigger. So either she is entirely flat-chested, or Games Workshop didn't do proper thinking.
That or it's very thin armor. Meaning there's plenty of space in between the outer shell and her actual chest for if she does have boobalas for them to breathe.
I still find it weird. It's fascinating, you know. Unhelmeted sister of battle with two big weapons right next to her ears. I mean, yeah, it's not as bad as the Space Marine and that speeder with the heavy stubbers right next to his head on each side, but still, This is a normal human being. That stuff's gonna hurt when it starts shooting.
Agreed.
Especially considering it's right next to your ears.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should probably move on from talking
there you
about
go.
that piece so we can go for another
Imprint
hour.
Gaunt. That pilot isn't the right size for the armor. Yes.
Alright, so let's go ahead and move on from this heresy.
The Primaris. There's always more Primaris.
Then we're moving on from the Alright, so more Primaris for this is the kill team though, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is basically what the Primaris heavy intercessors are going to be. If they aren't already released. I haven't been paying attention to Primaris releases. But
I'm
they're
not
here.
sure.
They're here. Suppose we're going to have to look at them. Something I've noticed immediately. Skulls do not have teeth anymore. Look at those skulls. Show me one that has teeth, other than the thing that's holding the captain's cape.
It won't let me zoom in.
Where
I
is a
think-
skull that actually has teeth?
Okay, so the one of the
Other
dude
than
holding...
the brooch, no.
There is one of the dude holding the gun up against his junk, or kinda, that the skull on his chest there does look like it's got teeth.
It looks like other than the brooch, kind of the one on the sheath, but it could just be the lighting and the angle. None of them seem to have, on his model, seem to have teeth.
Which is fascinating, considering that this stuff is made in CAD and 3D printed.
Yeah, I look at the other models, and it looks like the
Oh,
teeth on the Aquila.
I just noticed
Those are
something
good.
about that bolter. It doesn't have a trigger. That bolt gun doesn't have a trigger.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not
God,
surprised
you're
by that.
right.
I'm not surprised by that.
Oh, wow.
To be fair, printing a trigger on that would actually be pretty difficult.
No, it wouldn't. They do it all the time.
Yes, it would. Assuming it's as big as I think it is.
No,
Hold on, let me
it
grab one
would
of my.
not. They do it all the time.
Hold on. Let me grab one
Here,
of my
here's-
normal
here's-
Primaris. 1 second.
Here's an example. Here's Primaris reloading, and you can see the trigger. You can see with the previous the Malta heavy intercessors, they also had triggers. A lot of previous regular Space Marine kits also have the triggers. So no, it is not difficult to print the triggers.
1 second, still looking. Most of mine have normal guns.
Also, comment on that magazine.
What magazine? Let me sit back down. Sorry.
Can anyone tell me what the problem with that magazine on the captain is?
Is there one?
Yeah.
It looks like it's a part of the gun.
That's exactly.
Well, that's why I asked if there was one, because it's supposed to be detached from it. It doesn't look.
Oh my god.
It does not look like there is a magazine.
I mean, there is one where
There's
the
a
dude's-
magazine in. There is a magazine, but it's completely fused
I mean,
with the gun.
Well, no, there's not even like a line to
Nice.
suggest it's separate at all from the actual gun.
well, he's holding it in one.
Nope.
He's holding the gun in one hand and the magazine in the other, but still.
Are you looking at the
Wait,
captain,
what?
or are you looking at another one?
Let me double check. I think I might be looking at a different one. Sorry.
It's the dude with
This
the cape
one-
and the sword.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, I saw that. That does look connected. Why would you do that?
Also,
Yeah, weird.
these bolters have stocks. They have stocks. A bolter with stocks on them.
I mean, here's
I like that so much.
I will say,
I
okay,
think Xerius is
so
either about to nut or he's about to explode.
Excuse me, why would I nut to this?
I don't know.
You
You're
know I have a
making that
massive
sound.
hatred for this.
excuse me, they
It could be an angry nut.
I show nothing but pure anger towards these things.
Okay, so with regards to the magazine, I would have said theoretically you could potentially use stripper clips, although I don't know how the hell that would even work with a bolter. But even then, that doesn't work because it's not you can't load it from the top.
There's not even. Yeah, you can't load it from the top at all. It is pretty much impossible.
So yeah, they really screwed themselves in the foot on that one.
Yeah.
Also, I'm looking at that purity seal. That is literally just a triangle. There's not even a hint of an Aquila on there. It is just a triangle. Wow. Great job, Games Workshop.
Okay, who?
Great.
Sometimes they're lazier, though. Let's be fair. Sometimes they're lazier.
Who?
Because I got an assault intercessor in my hand right now, and on the Imperial seal I painted on him, there's nothing. It's just the circle of the wax. There's nothing in it at all.
Yo, that's most purity seals. But
I
this
know,
is
that's
a
what I'm
purity
saying,
seal that is supposed to have detail on it, but it's literally just a triangle. Nice.
You know, guys.
That's detail.
You know, guys. I'm gonna have to say it. I was kind of worried about Marnius Calgar influencing Warhammer 40k as far as lore. I wasn't expecting it to influence the art design and models of Warhammer 40k.
Yeah, the heavy metal team are usually pretty good. This is disappointing.
Oh, and I noticed a mold line. Have a look at the captain's cape. That is a mold line
that is disgusting.
running all along. Running all along the cape. Look at that.
It looks
That's
like
mold line.
I think it's even worse. Look at the corner at the bottom there. It looks like it pulled there a little bit, or a stamp of some sort on the cape.
Oh, the
Kinda
ultramarine Omega symbol.
No, on the bottom right of the cape, on the corner, right by his right foot.
Right from his perspective, or right from mine?
Yours.
I think I kind of understand. Do you mean pooling in the paint or the plastic?
Almost like the plastic.
It does look like the plastic is a bit
Yeah, I think I see what you mean.
inflated at the bottom. Which that's okay. Also, have a look at the power pack. You can clearly see lines from some form of mold line or connection. Wow. Great job.
They're getting lazier.
And this is just one model that I've covered right now. This is just the captain. I haven't even looked at the other ones yet. Okay, let's see the next one to the right. He looks fine. Of course, I know Syl is gonna completely complain about
I found another mold line.
Pointy thing. Going to the dude with the heavy bolter thing. The power pack, there's lines on that.
So you see
this
the one
heavy bolter thing looks okay.
So you've seen the one with the guy holding the gun up, right? Or the bolter up, right?
The non-captain
the reloading one,
right?
Yeah, the non-captain one.
Yeah.
The reloading one.
Yeah, look right under the barrel there. Mold lines. On the bottom of it.
Ah, look, mold lines. Although those, okay, to be fair, those ones are a bit more cleaned up. I can't see them as well as the stuff on the captain.
Mm-hmm.
But I can definitely see that there are mold lines on that thing.
I don't think that one's as bad. Looks
Yeah,
like
it's
they're
definitely not
all,
as bad.
other than the captain, looks like they're all par for the course.
Yeah. Also, okay, this is just a comment on these guys in general. Do you seriously need Gravis armor to wield these bolters? Do you
No.
seriously need it? And do you need to put stocks on these bolters? Do you seriously need that stuff? No, you do not. This is retarded. I mean,
I'd say
look at the
my
one on the
overall
left.
my overall take is these are kind of just par for the course mostly. In terms of the paint job's pretty good. I mean, I'm not too surprised heavy metal teams. They've had this one job for years, so I'm assuming
Yeah,
they wouldn't fuck it up too badly. But in
Yeah,
terms of
eh,
design, they're kind of meh. Like I'm not like impressed. But I didn't expect to be. Space
On the
Marines
topic-
really don't have too much different in terms, especially intercessors. Especially Primaris. There's not a huge gap between the types or design, really.
yeah, that's very annoying.
Yeah, so there's not as much from
Especially-
design you can really
especially
criticize.
with Hellblasters and Intercessors being separate things, that is retarded and unnecessary. Okay, so just a small comment on the painting here. On some of the legs, you can actually see the shading, especially on the one on the right side of the heavy bolter guy. This guy has some serious wash staining for shading. Like, I can see a very aggressive line between what's supposed to be shadow and the rest of the armor,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah, for
wow,
the heavy
that
metal
is-
team, that's a little more
that
obvious
is
than they usually go.
amateurish.
No, I wouldn't say it's amateurish. Amateurish, this is not. But I would say this is that right there, letting it pool that obviously. I'd say that's definitely not of the heavy metal team's quality. Like they don't usually make. I don't really see mold line mistakes from them. But in terms of painting, I don't think I've ever seen them allow a pool that obvious.
So another thing,
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that amateur. I've seen amateur. We all have, so that's
I
not
also
amateur.
wouldn't call it. It's not really pooling at all. It's just whatever shading they did it very poorly. So now you have aggressive lines instead of a nice smooth transition, like
I
you
said
see it
rush job.
on some of the others.
My guess is they were rushed for this one.
Or Associum says with how advanced and Our Associum says with how quote advanced and quote modern the Imperium has turned thanks to all these quote inventions, we won't even have plasma weapons overheating soon enough. The effing heresy.
Heresy. H. Heresy.
Indeed.
Heresy.
Speaking of heresy, let's move off. I think to something a little bit different. What do you guys think?
Let's move on to the Necrons.
Yay!
Okay, so we have
This one was just summarized. Let's not analyze every little detail. Because I feel like we're going to find just as many mistakes, if not the same type of mistakes. So let's just do an overview of these.
Well, okay, so the Chronomancer. It's kind of stupid. I'm sorry. I love Necrons, but this is kind of dumb.
I don't like the paint job.
You
but-
can see that the cubes are stored in these circle things. Wait, what do these cubes even do? We don't even know what they do. They something. Aside from that, it's a decent looking model. Next we have plastic flayed ones. Hell yeah! Finally,
They don't look all that different
plastic
from one
flayed
another.
ones. From what?
They don't look all that different from one another. And yeah, they rearrange where the flesh is, but put these side by side, I mean, the leader of this little kill team stands out the most. And then the rest of them, unless you were looking for the differences, you wouldn't really eyeball them unless you were looking at them for a few seconds.
I mean, flayed ones didn't look that different from each other anyway. Aside from
it's-
some having 2 claws, some having 4, some having 3 claws. It's not this. They don't really have that much of a difference between each other anyway. So I
They're
don't
just
quite.
not. I wish they had painted them maybe slightly different, but I don't know. It's just not my taste.
One of them that I don't like the look of is the one on the right of the the chronomancer has a buck tooth, which is retarded and stupid and should not exist.
It's the Hank Hill of flayed ones.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, generally I like these guys.
Yeah,
But then again, I like flayed ones anyway. So yeah.
Given a different paint
But-
job, I would have liked them more.
Yeah, I could see that.
speaking of flayed ones,
okay.
Speaking of flayed ones, anyone else find it kind of hilarious that Adeptus Mechanicus ended up with a T rating when it has flayed ones in it?
I mean, there are a few more gruesome imagery than simple flayed ones. Just saying.
Good point.
So yeah. But that's a tangent we shouldn't really get stuck on. Okay, so those are the minis. Now for the box. This is a retarded box. I am sorry, but no. If you have a Space Marine captain and 5 heavy intercessors versus a chronomancer and 5 flayed ones. I'm sorry, but to be realistic, those Space Marines would annihilate those flayed ones and possibly the chronomancer very easily. To me, this is a very unfairly
Balanced?
balanced, an unfairly balanced box. Unless the chronomancer and flayed ones have insanely good stats and insanely good rules. Maybe.
They might.
We haven't actually seen the rules yet. And also the addition of this Necron terrain for some reason. Copy paste.
Yep.
That's just odd. But I mean, yeah. The balancing to me just stands out the most as being egregiously horrible. But at the same time, we haven't actually seen the rules or stats just yet, so
My guess is
for
that the stats are going to be not in favor, but if they're going to put them in the same box, I'm assuming the flayed ones and the chronomancer have some pretty good stats if they're going to go up against heavy intercessors.
Well, they-
and Space Marine captain.
they better considering their opposition.
Yeah,
You
your
know,
guess
like,
is as good as mine on how
flayed-
good those stats are, though.
Yeah, And I'm not exactly someone who plays 9th edition, so I'm not even going to try and guess that. That is not my job. Okay, so that's the box, and let's move on to one of the worst aspects of this. The quote-unquote War Master Titan. I cannot begin to tell you how much I despise this thing. First of all, from a lore standpoint, this thing has never been mentioned once that I can recall.
I don't recall
No one has
a
mentioned
War
this.
Master.
No one has
Oh,
said
man.
anything about this. This thing has not existed outside of one piece of artwork from decades ago when Warhammer first started. I think it was the Warhammer Epic or All Titanicus piece of artwork. They had this thing, but obviously all more abstract. So what Games Workshop are essentially doing is nostalgia baiting for people who remember that piece of art.
You remember?
And let's be real, who remembers that piece of art?
I don't. So that's not a good sign.
Most people don't. Aside from the lore standpoint, let's move on to the aesthetics. Wow, this is a very busy model.
There's a
Holy
lot
crap.
going on.
There is an unnecessary amount of gold trim on this thing, and an unnecessary amount of plates, specifically overlapping plates. Which brings me to the worst, one of the worst parts of this model, is these scale plates along its chest and groin. Those are completely unnecessary. Like,
It's aesthetic.
if this thing tries turning left or right, it's not going to turn very far at all because of those plates. And they just look horrible. They look horrible.
They look pretty substandard.
If it was just one plate for the chest and maybe 2 plates for the groin, that would be fine. But as it stands, it's horrible.
I wouldn't say it's
Um,
horrible. I'd say, especially out of the things we've seen today in terms of design, I'd say the Sister of Battle thing we saw earlier was way worse in terms of design.
Mm.
I'm not a fan of that, and I don't see the point of the overlapping plates, especially that many. My correction, I guess I would offer, is don't have that many plates, especially lead from the chest. I would have that only on the groin area for an aesthetic
Yeah.
point, but I would not have that
Yeah.
many, and I would not have that lead from the chest. It just looks very awkward.
yeah.
So I would say
If
if they were to move that down and only have it in the groin area as a what are those even called?
Jockstrap.
Loincloth ish thing? That
I suppose
I'd be okay with it if it were like that and like only like 3 overlapping plates. It would be something different aesthetically, and then have something different over the chest.
Yeah.
But as it stands, that's the only thing I would say that I think is design wise kind of ugly. Everything else, it's okay. It's symmetrical. It's fine. It's not like I'm not wowed by this. I'm not impressed. I don't think it looks great. I'd say that I think the warlord pattern Titan looks cooler, more interesting. This one is just
definitely.
bigger and has some weird choices. But I don't
Yeah,
think it's
which is my next point. The weapon choices on this thing. Let's start with the legs. On one side there is one las cannon. On the other there is one golf ball imprinted into its leg.
it's
Why?
a vent.
Why? Either have a las cannon and a las cannon on one side, on each side, or have nothing. This asymmetrical, weird weapon design makes no sense. Because you can shoot from one leg, but not the other. Well,
Maybe
not
the
that we
idea
even
is
know what
it's
that ball
it's
is.
possible to be modulated. Maybe you can have two. Maybe you can have one. Maybe you can have one on one side, nothing on the other. Maybe that's it. That's a guess.
I don't know, but it's from what we see here with this arrangement, it looks dumb. It just oh
Maybe it's a speaker of
okay.
some sort.
No. Titans have plenty sound amplification already. So, no, that would be dumb. Plus, it doesn't really look that much like a speaker either.
It looks kind of like an old school one, but yeah.
Eh.
All right,
Okay.
so
In terms
iLoser-
of the main,
iLoser says, wait, I thought the Imperium is even reluctant of using the title War Master, because, you know, the Imperium is a bit of a dick.
okay, here, from what I understand, okay, well, you can actually see here from the model, it has the Eye of Horus on it. So,
Wait, where?
and from what on its, can you not see it on the shoulder? On the shoulder, Eye of Horus, right there.
Mm-hmm.
From what I'm kind of managed to piece together, it's supposed to be basically Horus's lost middle finger to the Imperium, but not even that makes too much sense because where did this come from? But yeah, I entirely agree on the name Imperium. They're not going to use the name War Master. No, they
No,
will not.
They wouldn't.
They would not.
They would
No.
if I understand if this was like a model they were bringing for like a 30K game or something like that, maybe. But
Well,
I don't
the thing
understand using the title War Master because if it's on the side of the Imperium, you know, they would re-entitle it something else. This is my personal opinion of what they would name it to. They would name it to like a Praetorian Titan, something like that, to reference to what Rogel Dorn's title was during the Horus Heresy, since he more or less filled in the position of War Master, but he was entitled the Praetorian or something along those lines.
Okay, so in terms of Titanicus's setting, it is mostly set in the Horus Heresy.
So the keeping of the name wouldn't be out of place.
Yeah, yes. However, you can kind of play it in 40K setting as well. So, yeah, it doesn't. The name doesn't make sense, especially for 40K.
Definitely not for 40K.
The title War Master. yeah.
It carries a rather heavy connotation.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of the weapons, the two main weapons, what are these supposed to be? I mean, yeah, I could see they're plasma weapons, but what are they supposed to be?
A quad plasma cannon?
These. But why? This.
Not sure. The thing is, I don't like that it's on both arms. I would prefer it if like you had one ballistics weapon on one arm and then plasma on the other. I don't. Just from that, that's pet peeve of mine. Like I don't like two plasma weapons. But as for the purpose of dual-wielding giant quad plasma cannons, I'm not sure.
And And the thing is,
I mean, it's
Titan plasma
destructive, but-
weapons, Titan plasma weapons drain a lot of energy. Like a lot of when you read up or listen to an audiobook, and you have a Titan about to fire a plasma weapons, it's a pretty big deal, and there's a constant threat of, the whole thing just shutting down because of the sheer amount of power you need to shoot Titan plasma weapons. So this thing having two of them makes even less sense. Ace, you got a super chat.
Yep. Imbram Gaunt says for $5, but the Imperium uses the War Master in 40k like Lord Solar was a War Master. War Master Slato from the Ghost series. Alright. Thank you for the super chat. You guys got comment on that?
They use Duracell.
But the Imperium,
okay.
let me read it. The Imperium uses the War Master in 40k like Lord. You mean the Titan or the title?
I think the title.
We haven't seen a Titan before now, so the title. I don't know what he means by War Master Slato from the Ghost series.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that myself. Hold on.
I don't really understand.
War Master Slato. Hold on. Slato was the chief architect of the first Imperial War Master of the Sabbath World's Crusade. Slato was killed in action during the Imperial military campaign to reclaim the world Balhot. After engaging in single combat with the forces of Chaos, commander in the sector of Archon. Okay, so it looks like, just skimming it, this guy's the architect behind the Imperial War Master. Wait, what? I'm assuming it means the Titan, but it just says the War Master, and if I click on the link for War Master, it leads me to the title War Master. Nah, I'm confused.
Can you send me a link real quick? Maybe I can figure something out.
Yeah, it's the wiki, so keep that in mind. It's not the lexiconum. Keep in mind,
Yeah, well, the
it may very well be
lexiconum
wrong.
The lexiconum has its mistakes as well, so.
So, you guys want to move on from this then?
Wait, hold on.
I'm just gonna read through this real quick.
There you go.
It's not loading. There is currently no text in this page.
Yeah, I fixed the link. Try re-clicking on the link.
Up. Okay. The first Imperial War Master of the Sabbath World's Crusade. War Master Slater. Okay.
I don't know this story.
Chief and Architect.
So
Slater was the chief architect and first Imperial War Master. So he didn't design anything, he was the War Master.
okay, so I misread that. So chief architect.
And
Yeah, I know.
first
I'm just
War Master.
what? So just general architect, or that's what I'm questioning. Is there specific, or does that just mean general?
I don't know. Maybe a war architect? I don't really know.
It just says chief architect, and then it doesn't specify if there's something specific he designed, or if it's just he's the general architect of the
There's
Imperium?
probably something about that in there, but I don't think we want to go on that tangent right now.
No, I'll read through this later. I don't recognize his name at all, so missed out on
Neither
whatever
do
book
I.
that's from.
Yep. Okay, so those are the plasma weapons. Now, here's something that doesn't make sense for this thing's size.
Mm-hmm.
What about other weapons? I mean, okay, first of all, the placement of it's got rocket launchers in its shoulder joints.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Did they not know apocalypse missile launchers exist?
Maybe what they're trying to do is copy the Timberwolf from BattleTech.
I have
I'd
no
only be
idea.
guessing.
Huh?
I'd only be guessing
Um,
personally.
Oh, you guys know what the Timberwolf is, right?
No.
No, I don't know BattleTech.
Okay. Probably the most famous mech design in BattleTech.
Send an
Alright.
image.
All right, image coming in soon. Now this is what the image. This is what they look like nowadays. But let me show you what they used to look like.
Eh, that honestly looks more like the apocalypse missile launcher setup on a warlord. I almost said war master for some reason. Yeah, I personally don't see the connection.
In the shape of the launcher, I could see the connection, but other than that, everything else
Yeah.
looks different.
The combinate. Well, usually Timberwolf uses PPC, which kind of makes me think of the plasma of this thing. But Ibram Gaunt says filthy clatter.
Me?
Steiner for life. Remember 3054. Eurosium BattleTech best mech urban mech. I mean, yeah, so long as you're not in a race with the thing.
Okay. So, one of the biggest issues I have with this model, it's a very big model, but it only has 2 big guns. Which, compare that to the Warlord, which is a bit smaller than this thing, makes absolutely no sense why it would be this way. Like, this thing would basically just be tanking damage and giving out a little bit of damage here and there, which personally I don't really understand it.
My opinion on it, like I've said, I'm not a huge fan of the design. I don't think it's the ugliest thing ever. With opposed to certain things on it, like I said, the plates overlapping down below to the crotch area. I would rather that be just a loincloth or maybe 3 overlapping plates and then a separate piece altogether for like the chest plate design. That would be more interesting and not less ugly.
Dear God.
But other than that, it's okay. Like the rest of it's fine. Like it's not. I would say this is not better than the Warlord. In terms of the Warlord Titan, in terms of design, I think the Warlord looks better. This is certainly uglier.
Mm-hmm.
This one's more beefy, especially in like it's. I almost want to nickname it the Hunchback, because even for a Titan, it's got a lot of stuff going on above the head.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's even bulkier. So.
Yeah, I kind of noticed something. Have a look at the plasma weapon real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom in to the middle of it. Now, I noticed this because before I was into Warhammer, I was very into Lego. That thing looks like a Lego stud.
Oh God, it does.
It looks exactly like it.
A Lego stud.
Specifically a flower. One of those flower studs. It looks
Oh.
just like that.
I kind of see that, yeah.
I will say this. The one thing I do like about this are the heads. I do like the heads, admittedly enough.
Yeah, but they're not too much of a departure from standard Warlord heads.
Actually, seeing the size, you probably could throw one of these on a warlord.
Probably.
Okay, so this thing is useful for something.
Kid bashing. I pretty much said my piece about it. Though.
Okay,
I don't think it's the worst thing ever. It's not. I wouldn't buy it. Is basically what I would say.
It's mediocrity. Mediocrity, in all
All
honesty.
right. So
Okay, so that was the Titan.
The rest is Age of Sigmar, and I assume that's not what you want to talk about. Because
I
neither of us
actually do.
play Age of Sigmar.
so we're going into Age of Sigmar. Hooray! All right, here we
I
go.
got nothing to say, so I would just be
I
listening.
think I'm gonna say this. I like the aesthetic of this furry OC.
Someone send in the Black Templars.
What?
So you said furry. Someone send in the Black Templars.
Indeed.
Yep. I mean, look at it. That is literally just your average fantasy furry OC.
I'd say that. Is that even? Would you even call that a quiver? It's a very weird looking quiver. Whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, that is weird for a quiver, all right.
It is weirdly designed and strange and
Actually, how would you get the bows out? Like if you look at one of the zoom in pictures,
arrows.
like it's just big enough for the diameter of the main rod of the arrow to get out, but the arrow head is going to be, I'm assuming, wider than the arrow itself. So how would they get the arrow out?
That's a good question. A very good question.
Yep.
Poorly designed.
Indeed. Okay, so other than that, I admittedly do like the aesthetic, but not that much. So we're gonna move on.
Okay.
Hey, look, Teclis is Osiris now, apparently. Right. Yeah, and for some reason he has green skin. Okay,
And I don't know anything about the lore. I don't know anything about Age of Sigmar.
Neither do I. Next we've got spells.
So wait, why are we keeping going on this then?
The only. Let's skip the spells
let's continue,
and get to
let's
the
continue to
vampires.
look over this that we know nothing about.
Here is something I'm interested in: the vampires. However, some of these character models are bizarre, to say the least. Like, let's have a look at the one in the red armor first.
There's two in reddish armor.
The one in pure red armor.
Okay.
The dude that's looking at his hand all spaced out.
Like, I got 5 fingers.
Exactly.
He must have
Macro from the outer circle.
He must
actually
have
made the
just
joke.
had some wacky tobacco.
Yeah. And of course, tactical statue. Can't go wrong without that.
Wait
Personally,
a
I
sec.
don't really.
I think I might see. Well, no, never mind.
Personally, I don't really like this one. Next is the female one, which looks.
Discount Elvira.
No idea who that is.
Their vampire teeth on all of these looks pretty ugly.
It does.
Like,
Um.
on the first guy, it only amplifies the duh face for me. On the chick, it kind of makes it look like a squirrel. Like,
Where's
the
them
only
nuts?
the only one whose teeth I don't think got that makes him look stupid is the one with wings. Like they toned it
We'll
down
get to him
just
later.
enough. He doesn't look fucking dorky. The
Mhm.
rest of them, their teeth are just like, okay, you tone it down a notch because they have no other teeth but just those two, and it just makes them look derpy.
I also have a bit of a pet peeve with this female one because her sword is in her hair.
Mhm.
Now, if she had to quickly get her sword out, she's gonna cut off her entire hairdo.
Yeah, I've seen that meme too. Somebody shared that.
I mean, at least
Yep.
then the enemy won't be able to use it to grab onto her.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah. And also the skull on it on the base. I've seen better from second edition skulls.
Now that you mention it, yeah,
That's
pretty,
all I say.
That's pretty ugly.
Yep.
Now, this dude with the big ass mace, the
Mhm.
two-handed mace. I'm gonna give you guys a second to try and find the 3D striation marks. Wow.
Breathe.
Uh,
I'll just say it. It's on the mace head. You can
yeah.
see those. You can see them as clear as day.
Yeah, it's.
Oh. Wow.
Breathe, young man.
Talk about
Breathe.
Talk about laziness.
Speaking of
Wow.
laziness, I believe I might see another mold line. On the. If you look. From our point of view, looking at him on his left shoulder. Right before the horns or whatever.
I don't see it.
All right, you see where my mouse is pointing?
You're gonna have to screen share that. Okay, no, I see it on the stream
I see
now.
where you're pointing. No, I don't think that's a mold line. Well, it is, but it's an intentional one. It's one that
Okay.
you wouldn't scrape off.
Nope, that's a mod line.
That's just
That's a mod line.
I don't think so.
No. Compare that to the other pad. That is not supposed to be there.
Hold on, let me get you up.
Yeah, that's. Oh no, that. Wow.
I don't see any unintentional ones in there. I just see the edges of that plate.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's an unintentional one because it almost goes from one edge of it to the other. Almost. Or
Yeah.
I don't see it, but
I
that's
don't
fair.
want to look at it anymore. I don't want to look at it anymore. Okay, the Lost Vampire. In terms of faces, he has the best looking one. In terms of the rest, I don't know.
I think the wings are all right. I'm not
The wings
too
are okay.
impressed with everything. Like, I'd say meh. Like, I think the wings are neat. I think his face is the best, but I'm not really like overly impressed by any other elements that are on display there.
the mace is a lot better than what we saw earlier, so there is that.
Yeah, but I think it's because it's smaller.
Yeah.
Smaller mold.
Also, have a look at this guy. Have a look at his crotch plate.
Kind of can't. The angle's weird, but it looks from this angle, it looks like a cat face to me.
Yeah, that's a fascinating choice of design.
Yeah. Then again, I'm not getting a direct angle, so I don't know what it's supposed to look like. We're getting a side angle.
I'm guessing a bat.
My guess is it's supposed to be that, but yeah, it looks kind of like a cat face.
Hmm. But yeah, the hair also looks weird. But then
Looks like he's
again,
going Super Saiyan.
Games Workshop doesn't know how to do long hair anymore. It all looks wet and oily and looks like something out of a 3 Days Grace music video.
I don't think 3 Days Grace has ever done this.
Well, moving on. Moving on to something that looks like it's had actual effort put into it. The Witch Hunter and the Gravekeeper.
I'm
I actually like these.
yeah.
I like him alright.
The Witch Hunter, I love it. Aside from the leg armor, which looks a bit out of place, I like this. I would happily get that for 40k and try and find an inquisitorial rosette or something, put it on there and call it Inquisitor. I would happily do that because I like the look of that model.
Mm-hmm.
I like it fairly.
This is something
I probably wouldn't
I
get it.
can say.
I probably wouldn't, but that's just because the design in general of the Witch Hunter has never been my cup of tea.
I can understand that. But this is nice. And he has, you see his gun. You can see it has a part of it that launches wooden stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool detail is he has wooden stakes loaded on his person, all over him, all on his sides.
Mm-hmm.
Which that personally for me that's a nice detail. Because in general you don't really see models having ammunition on them. Cough, Space Marines, cough. So that's just nice for me.
Well, Space Marines have the little pouches, which the implication is the ammo's in the pouches.
Jacob Jones says, back scabbard.
Back scabbard.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of back scabbards either.
Same.
Also, speaking of pouches, he has a pouch. The pouches on this guy look way better than any pouches I've ever seen, period, in general. Why
Okay.
can't we have pouches like that in Warhammer? Well, in 40k, I mean. Because that is a good looking, very nicely detailed pouch.
Yeah, that's from the paint job, though. Model-wise, it's
No, that-
not really that... Oh, you mean the back one? Like the satchel? Or do you mean like the pouch on his belt?
I kind of mean both.
Okay, well, the pouch on his belt's bog standard. We have those model-wise, we have pretty much the exact same ones in 40k on Space Marines. The back
The
one,
ones in 40K are a lot more
one's not really in 40k. So if you're talking about that one, I'd agree. It'd be cool
Yeah.
to see something more like that. But the one on his belt, meh. It's pretty much the same thing.
I can see that. Okay, so that's the Witch Hunter. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
The Gravekeeper.
This is the one I like.
Oh, yes. Look, what is there to say? Look at it. Just
Kind of
look at it.
reminds me of the mouth of Sauron.
One little detail, and I'm gonna point this out, and you guys are never going to unsee this. The Gravekeeper has a bit of a semi going on in the crotch region.
You could argue that's a fold in the cloth.
No, that's definitely a genital impression. I know. I've seen a lot of impressions, and that
You should be
that's-
admitting that on camera. Forever, you shall have this recorded on a
good
live
point.
stream.
But I mean, I'm okay. Well, to clear it up, I'm talking in terms of models. Like some of the Space Marine scouts, they have bulges. Or am I thinking of scouts or Cadians?
Well, there's a decent difference between Cadians and Space Marine Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, moving on. I like the model.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty
It
cool.
looks nice. It is very nice. The hook, the. Okay, well, he's standing on a tactical rock. Yay. The headdress is fascinating. I like it, however, at the same time, oh, that is going to be an ass to paint. Especially if you want to get the liney, bony look. um,
Pierce former cancer
But,
said, "I would also be at half mast if I looked that good." Oh god.
funny. I find it interesting, however, that he has kind of just a random foot on his belt. I don't really understand why it's there.
I thought it was a hand.
I thought it was a hand too.
Nope,
I'm
that's
pretty
a foot.
sure. Are you sure? Those look like fingers to me.
It seemed pretty long to be toes.
I can see how
I
you.
think the reason you think that is because the thumb is on the other side. It's not. That's
Hold on,
not
let me
a
look at my
foot.
hand. Let me compare my hand to my foot real quick. Okay, yeah, that's a hand.
See? Fingers are way too long.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I have long toes, so yeah.
Yeah, but even the longest toes don't have them. Don't have the two separate joints. Like toes only have the one set. Fingers have two.
No, toes, except for the pinky and big toe, they do have two sets.
But yeah, but the index where the
Well,
big toe would be on
mine
there
do
is
anyway.
two jointed. So that tells me, yeah, it's hand.
Yeah, it's a hand. Okay, we get it. But yeah, out of all this, the Witch Hunter and the Gravekeeper are definitely my favorites, and things I actually genuinely like. For once, which for
And they're an
people
Age
who
of
know
Sigmar.
me is an absolute yeah, and people who know me know that this is an absolute rarity on my part. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for today. Unless you guys want to cover anything else.
Well, I got
Well,
two
I'm the
smaller
guest.
things myself. If you guys feel up for it.
If we're gonna continue, I really need to go get some water.
All right.
I'll be right back.
So, how are you guys on the stream handling things? Let's see. Some of the comments here. Gabriel Alio says maybe it's his left hand. Could be his hand. He's missing his left one. Says Gabriel. Yeah, I think you might actually be onto something on that. The purest form of cancer says, I would also be at half mast. Okay, that we already read that.
Yeah, I read that earlier.
Emergency foot, emergency limb. Okay. Ibram Gant says he isn't on a rock. He is digging a coffin up. Yeah, I can see that. OCM says Evil Dead trick: possess a hand, throw it at the enemy. Solution: chainsaw. Brother Kakiel says, yawn, this game of CK2 is getting boring.
CK2.
Crusader Kings 2.
Oh, okay. I was like, see, I didn't think of the thing on. Actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna hop off. I'm pretty out of energy myself.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, it's
Well,
understandable.
So you two enjoy the rest of
I'm-
your podcast. Thank you for having me on as a guest.
have a good one, Asmagon.
Hey,
Oh,
show
no,
everybody
I
that
definitely
thumbnail I
enjoyed
made
having
before
you
I
on.
go. Show everybody that thumbnail I made before I go. I want
Sure.
the chat's. I want the chat's opinion of that.
Speaking of thumbnail, has Nathan finished his yet?
I have no idea. I
Well,
sent him a copy of mine and told him, "Hey, this is the one I'm doing."
Well, I
Do
do have
better.
a few.
I'm talking to Ace.
I do have a few messages from him. I haven't read them yet because we're streaming right now. I don't know if he would want me to read them or not. On the stream.
Yeah, it's
itself.
understandable.
Anyways, but yeah, this is what
But,
Asmagon
yeah.
made here, and I do think it looks quite nice. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm
I
biased.
personally
so-
like it.
I do think it looks pretty good. I will say that. Brother Cactiel says, I haven't started using any of the DLCs. I just bought yet. The DLCs, depending on which ones you got, can greatly change the game. Just wait until you find the DLC that gives you the ability to have, well, satanic cults and all that. Purest Form of Cancer says, ooh, that's pretty sweet. Osium says, nice flag. Jacob Jones says, looks good to me. Well, I think you got a winner there, Asmagon.
Yeah. Hope Nathan beats me.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Nathan has come up with, and I'll have a look at it. All right, so I was going
I'll hop out.
All right.
Enjoy the podcast.
So,
You enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, okay, he's gone.
all right, well, have a good one. By the way, so two little things I was going to. These are both games that I've been pretty hyped for, I'll admit. They're both games I've already tried and played myself a little bit, although they're in various stages of, well, development still. The first game here is Ready or Not. Now, I should mention, I'm personally under an NDA, along with anyone else that plays the game as far as the campaign is concerned. But this particular news update, I know for a fact, is not NDA, so I can actually disclose this, I think.
I'll be right back. Just a couple of minutes.
All right.
I'll be right back. Just not. I won't be long. Don't worry.
Okay. But, well, I guess I can go ahead and
Wow, my mouth is dry.
tell the viewers here what exactly we are looking at. Ready or Not, the best way to describe it, if you've ever played SWAT 4, this is basically the spiritual successor to SWAT 4. The idea being it's a tactical shooter where you're supposed to try to arrest the bad guys where possible and all that. So, an interesting, good idea. And they've got some new, in this little update, they've improved some of the maps that are already in the game. And they have also showcased 2 new weapons in here. The first of the maps that's been improved is Hotel here. Which, yeah, this definitely does look like an improvement in terms of the lighting, I would say. And then we have Port, once again, definitely an improvement in terms of the lighting. And, yeah. I do think that the variety of the maps in this game will be... I do think that it will be definitely a bit of a selling point. Urus Osium says, arrest, shoot in the head. You do have less lethal options, like the Pepper Bowl, which you can legitimately do that with. It's basically a paintball gun that shoots pepper spray-filled paintballs. And speaking of which, one of the new weapons is a less lethal Winchester 870 from the looks of it. And then you have the other option being the HK416. So yeah, 2 new weapons, and yeah, along with improvements to the map. Xerius, are you back on yet? Well, I guess he's not. I guess we'll wait for him, see what his thoughts are when he gets back. But, anyways, Urus OCM says shooting the groin then. You know, that actually makes me have to wonder if they are going to put in animations for that. That would be kind of hilarious. Purest Form of Cancer says death penalty carries such negative connotations. I prefer the term permanent arrest. An execution is guaranteed to rehabilitate a criminal.
And I'm back.
All right, so well, what we're looking at here is a dev update regarding a game Ready or Not. How familiar are you with Ready or Not, Xerius?
0.
All right. Best way to describe it, have you ever played SWAT 4 before?
Nope. Never heard of it.
All right. So basically, SWAT 4, and indeed in this game, you play as a SWAT team officer. It's a tactical shooter where your goal is to try to rescue the hostages and arrest the bad guys if possible. That said, you're playing a SWAT team and the bad guys don't always cooperate, understandably. So you might have to take drastic measures to try to arrest them. But anyways.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you have a basic idea now of how the game is. But some of the updates they've showcased they've actually shown, as you can see here, some improvements to the map. Some of the maps, specifically Hotel here, has gotten some lighting improvements and some rework, so it looks a lot nicer. And the other map is Port, which once again looks notably nicer. But that's the first two things there. The second are the two new weapons that they're showing off. The HK-416 here, which is an assault rifle, and then the Winchester 870, which is a less lethal shotgun. This shoots it shoots non-lethal rounds. The whole point is to incapacitate enemies. Although I believe with the way this game works, if you fire on them close enough, it could break bones and things like that. So you have to be careful with using that if you want to take them out without killing them. So, but yeah, that's the update for this game. I mean, given it's a tactical shooter and your weapon loadout is actually very important to your survival and your strategies and all that, getting two new weapons, I think, is, well, it's nice always, right? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it sounds interesting. Personally, doesn't sound like something I would personally play, but it does sound interesting.
I mean, there's I could show you one of the trailers for the game. Thing is, the trailer is spicy. The trailer is really spicy. Enough so.
How so?
Let's just say this video would probably get demonetized if I showed you some of the stuff that happens in the trailer.
Oh boy.
In fact, it was. In fact, I believe I showed both Osmogon and Kibbs the trailer, and both separately, but both of them basically said "Holy shit" at that one point. Let me see if I can actually find a link. I'll put it in the chat here for you guys.
What's the rating on the thing?
The ESRB.
I suppose.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an M-rated game when it comes out.
Oh boy.
All right, so the link has been put into the chat. Yeah, it's going to be quite something, I can tell you. That said, there's a lot of cool stuff in that trailer, even that you'll be able to see. Like you'll be able to use battering rams, ballistic shields, and all that good stuff.
I might as well check it out.
All right. But anyways, I'll go ahead and wait for you on that because, like I said, yeah, I don't want the stream to get demonetized.
Oh, a taser. Ah, there's the ram and the shield. Oh, I love this classical music line. Holy crap. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think you know why I'm not showing that on this video and why it would get this demonetized. Purest form of cancer says that was. Purest form of cancer says.
Oh.
What?
Wow. Okay, that's a that. Ooh.
I think brutal. The purest form of cancer summarized it quite nicely here. He says that was one of the most brutal trailers I have ever watched. Holy Moses! I too am now hyped and a little traumatized. Yep.
Yeah, same here. I will say, beautiful choice of music, though.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, SWAT 4 itself was pretty dark as well, too. I mean, there's one mission in SWAT 4 that is especially notorious where you go deal with a whole bunch of crazy cultists. And I am not going to get into that because, yeah. But anyways,
How bad this
I think this is worse, but I think this is worse, but not by much. But
it's funny. I will laugh and have fun when I see something like Doom Eternal with demons getting torn apart, guts ripped out and stuff. I'll happily play that and watch that. But that trailer. Oh, that gives me shivers.
Yep.
Especially with those I suppose I am allowed to say kids. That ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Wow.
All right.
That is something.
Yep.
Oh. Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, I told you it was going to be a grim one.
Yeah, you did. For some reason I didn't believe you, but now I do.
Yeah, well, let's move on to the second game, which is nowhere near as graphic. This is another game I've been playing. Actually, this one there's no NDA, so I've actually been uploading videos of it. Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Same folks that gave us the Ultimate General
Ah, I've
series.
heard about this.
Yep. So they've only a few days ago.
I've seen.
Yeah, I've actually done a few videos playing it, even a live stream. Now that I think about it. But
I've watched Arch's videos on it, and it looks like an interesting game.
well, you might be thinking of Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail, which is a different game in the same series that's being developed at the same time. The difference.
Okay.
Yeah, that one is American Revolution, Age of Sail, and all that. This is Dreadnoughts, as in think the Battle of Jutland.
No. It is Dreadnoughts. Yes, it is Dreadnoughts, not the other thing.
Okay. Oh, so Arch has covered this one as well, eh?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, it's so here's the big news. They've actually released the roadmap for this year, and there's some big news for it. On the one hand,
Ooh.
the first big patch, they are introducing the campaign mode, which they're starting out with Britain and Germany for the two playable nations at the start there. Then they're going to, and that's the first big patch of the whole year. Then they're going to do Core Patch 2, which is crew and officers. Then Core Patch 3, R&D and tech progression. And I think it's at this point that the game will enter early access in Steam, they say. Yep, it says it right here. And then Core Patch 4, new nations and map expansion. Because it starts out...
Interesting.
Yeah, because the game already has... The game has more nations than, of course, just Britain and Germany. You also have Russia, France, Italy, the US, Austria, and China, and Japan are the other ones that come to my mind. And yeah, some really good stuff there. And well, what do you know regarding the gameplay?
I don't remember much because the Arch's videos that I watched on it was quite a while ago. But I think I remember it being like you can customize where like what weapons you have on the ships and where the weapons are,
Yep.
and basically you can like overly customize the hell out of it.
Yeah, I
That
actually...
is
Yeah, it is insane. So my viewers might know that I've made a few meme videos showing how ridiculous some of them is. For example, I ended up building instead of a warship, I built a warship instead.
oh.
In which, let me show you.
If I can't find it, send me a link.
All right, no worries.
Because that just sounds entertaining.
All right, let's see. Here we go. Found it.
Yeah, I'm not finding it.
There you go. Motorkiller says Austria isn't connected to the sea. Well, this is Austria-Hungary, and they did actually have a sea lane, or they did actually have a coastline at that point. They lost it at the end of World War One by breaking up, but they did actually have a coastline before that.
Wow, that's a lot of guns.
I also love how you can name the ships whatever you want, so I just named it the Daka Daka Daka. But there is a trade-off to that. Whenever you put a whole bunch of guns on a ship like that, they have a bad habit of, well, getting ammo detonations.
Yeah.
Purest form of cancer says, "Oh my God, Emperor, that is a rude amount of DACA."
I mean, it's an okay amount of DACA. It's nothing special.
The Mocha Killer says, in the Baltic, well, the game does start out in the North Sea, but it's going to expand to other areas as well. So the Mediterranean, East Asia, the Caribbean, places like that. Basically, from what I've understood, this is going to be very similar to the Rule the Waves games. Except Rule the Waves 2 added in aircraft carriers, and this, from what I understand, they don't actually have any plans of implementing aircraft carriers at this time. Gabriel Alio says, that's stuff I would expect to see in From the Depths. Yep.
No idea what that is.
Best way to describe it is, imagine Minecraft if it was a shipbuilding simulator. And you could also build spaceships and aircraft.
Hold on, I think I know. Wait, that sounds familiar. Hold on.
All right.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was one of those games that came out originally on Steam in early access. Well, I'm pretty sure it's gotten the full release since. Let me check.
Let me just see if I can find the video. I think.
Here, I found the Steam page for it. Oh, there's also ground combat now, too.
Yep, From the Depths. No, yep. Yes, okay, yep. I know what you're talking about.
Alright, yeah.
Now I know what you're talking about.
So, ultimately, what do you think of this
Yeah,
particular...
that... Well... The thing is, I'm not as interested in it nowadays as I used to be. Like, I really used to be into warships not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of entered a burnout stage, and, well, whilst I do like warships, I'm not the biggest fan right now, but I can appreciate them. Would I play the game? I don't know. I don't think I would personally.
Mm.
But it does look like a fun game.
It is. Was having an absolute blast at it. Well, I think that covers about everything. Anything closing you have?
No, not really.
Alright. Alright. Well.
Oh, geez, how long? Oh, 2.5 hours. Jeez.
Yep.
And we lost 15 viewers as soon as Asmodon left. Of course.
Asmodon
Hey, that
really
just
does...
goes to show that he.
Yeah, people really
Yeah,
do like it.
he brings a crowd. I mean, what's not to like about him?
Yep. All right. Well, I think since we're about at it, this has been Ace.
This has been Xerius from Tactics Pod.
And we hope to see you all again soon. Until then, have a good one.
And we hope you enjoyed. And please do, people in post stream, please do give some feedback in the comments. This is actually something I would like to do a bit more often, but I would also appreciate some criticism, feedback. What do you guys think? Should we do this? This was basically a test.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you guys tell us what you think, and yeah, we'll see you guys later this week with another comic stream.
Have a good one, everyone.